Hello everyone, good morning to all of you. This is Manik sir, and once again we shall talk in details about the age of revolutions which begins in between 1830 to 1848. So dear children, as we see that when the conservatisms who came into power again in 1815 with the defeat of Napoleon at Waterloo, we understand that the revolutions movement that was began in 1830. So here we understood that why the peoples they started these revolutions movements in 1813, what was the reasons, what was the causes which is rooted for the initiating of these revolutions movements in 1830. So there are lot of reasons which is rooted here for the age of revolutions in 1830. So dear children, here we understand that when these conservatisms who came into power in 1815, they established their traditional institutions, they established all their institutions, that is known as the church, the society, the institutions, all these things which came into being as it was before. So as soon as the conservatisms who came into power, they started ruling the society as they were ruling before the age of revolutions. So dear children, when monarchy power came into being, we understand that there was lot of dissatisfactions that happened among the peoples, because we see that during the time of monarchy rules, there was absolute monarchy systems, that monarchy is the one who is having more authority. He is not giving any rights to the peoples. He is not listening to the demands of the society. There was discriminations in the society. There was no liberty. There was no freedom. So see, that is the reasons all these liberal groups, they are forming an associations, starting these revolutions movements in many parts of European country. So here, why they again started these revolutions movements? Already we have discussed here, my dear children, that during the time of monarchy was the absolute ruler who was enjoying unlimited power in the society, and due to that peoples were not enjoying any kind of social rights as well as political rights in the society. There was lot of dissatisfactions that was found among the society, among the peoples. So here these liberal nationalist groups were initiating these revolutions movements again in 1830. As we understand that who really started this revolutions movement. It was started by these liberal nationalists, and who was part of this liberal nationalist group? It was the middle classes who came into power, or who increased their status, who developed their economy, who developed their identity after the age of industrializations. So all these middle classes, they became educated, they did many kind of commercial activities, they engaged in industrial work, and they developed their status, they increased their status, they developed their identities, and when they developed themselves in the societies with these industrial revolutions, it was the teachers, the professors, the clerks, all the commercial groups, all these peoples were part of these struggles, and all these peoples, they started these revolutions movements again in 1815, and they were continuously demanding to limit the power of the monarchy, because they want to have the constitutional monarchy. They want to set up these democratic societies in the society. They already tested the ruling systems of democratic values, because in democratic values those peoples were given all kind of privileges, all kind of facilities, and that is the reasons when again this monarchy system came into being, those peoples they again started these revolutions movements in 1830, because already they were knowing that during the time of monarchy these peoples were not given any kind of social privileges to all these middle classes. The middle classes rights, the political rights, the social rights, everything was denied during the time of these kings and emperor. And that is the reasons we understand that all these middle classes peoples, they are initiating this age of revolutions in 1830. So dear children, when they began this age of revolutions in 1830, so this first violent movement, it was taken place in 1830, and this Bourbon dynasty, who again came into power with the defeat of Napoleon. So what they did was they overthrown the power of this Bourbon dynasty, and they limited the power of this Bourbon dynasty, and they established the constitutional monarchy, and the head was Louis Philippe. So dear children, here this Bourbon dynasty, already we are knowing that during the French revolutions in 1789 who lost its power, but again it came into being in 1815 with the initiatives of these European powers. And when these European powers had restored the power of Bourbon dynasty, and this Bourbon dynasty again it was ruling its regions as well as its territory. During that time we see there was a revolutions which took place in 1830, and with these revolutions they overthrown the power of this Bourbon dynasty, and they established the constitutional monarchy, and the head was Louis Philippe. So dear children, as they began these revolutions in different parts of this European country, so they started in Brussels, and they overthrown the power of Bourbon dynasty, and with this overthrowing of Bourbon dynasty, they made the constitutional monarchy, and its head was Louis Philippe. So as soon as these revolutions happened in Brussels, it inspired the other nations to start these revolutions movements in other parts of European country. And here the Belgians, who was greatly inspired with these revolutions movements in Brussels, and they started to be breaking off from Netherlands kingdoms. That means they do not want to be part of these United Kingdoms. They want to have separations from United Kingdom. So here, as soon as these revolutions happens in Brussels, we see that it was inspiring the Belgians, and now the Belgians are becoming separate from these United Kingdoms of the Netherlands. So dear children, here after these revolutions which happens in this particular period between 1830 to 1848, we see the Greek War of Independence which happens in 1821. So here the Greek was a small So dear children, as we see after these revolutions which happens in different parts of European country, it inspired the Greek regions also. We see the Greek War of Independence which happens in 1821, and we understand that the growth of nationalism feelings which was arising in European countries, and it was among the middle classes elite who started these independence movements in all European countries, who inspired greatly the Greek peoples also. So it is these liberal nationalist peoples who inspired greatly to these Greek peoples to start these Greek War of Independence in 1821, because we understand that this Greece, it was been part of the Ottoman Empire, and it was since 15th centuries. So when these European struggles was happening in all European countries during that times, it was inspiring the Greeks also to start these independence movements among the Greek peoples in 1821, because these peoples also they loved the ideas of liberty, freedoms, and they started these democratic systems to have in Greek society also. Dear children, here the Greek peoples also they loved the ideas of this nationalist, this liberal nationalist, and they wanted to have independence from this Ottoman Empire, because during the Ottoman Empire the Greek peoples were not at all happy with the monarchy systems. That is why they also wanted to have democratic societies. They wanted to have independence in Greece also. And when they started these independence movements in Greece in 1821, who are the peoples who supported the Greek War of Independence? So basically these Greek peoples they got support from these Greek peoples who were living in exile. So when they started the revolutions movement against these Ottoman Empire, during that time these Greek peoples who were living in exiles, they supported these Greek peoples to start this Greek War of Independence against this Ottoman Empire. So dear children, here we understand that here the Greek peoples who are living in exiles, they are supporting him. They are encouraging all Greek peoples to fight against the Ottoman Empire, because they do not want to be under the control of Ottoman Empire, because during the monarchical regimes there was lot of restrictions which the peoples do not want to have. So here apart from that they got support from the Western Europe. They are such as Belgium, France, the Ireland, the Netherlands, the United Kingdoms, all Christian countries. They supported Greece. Why? Because Greek civilization is considered the cradle of European civilization. So here they are continuously supporting these Greek peoples to have freedom from Ottoman Empire. Here the Ottoman Empire is the Muslim empire. So they do not want to have under the control of this Muslim empire. They need to have deliverance from this Ottoman Empire. So they got support from Greek peoples who are living in exiles, and also they got support from all the Christian countries. They are such as Belgium, France, Ireland, Netherlands, United Kingdoms, because all these countries they greatly respect the Greek culture, the Western culture, because they consider that the root of this Western culture has begun in Greek. That is the reasons it was begun in Greece. That is the reasons they want to support the Greek War of Independence. So here in Greece we see the two kinds of peoples. Here basically the Christian peoples who are starting these independence movements, and they are also getting the support from these Christian countries, and they are known as the Western Europeans. So because all of them they support each other, because they consider that their culture is something great and those culture needs to be restored here. Those culture needs to be protected. That is the reasons. So here the Western Europeans are also supporting the Greek peoples to have the Greek War of Independence against the Ottoman Empire. So dear children, it was the Christian peoples who had the long struggles during this period of monarchy, and they started these revolutions movements. We see that these Christian peoples they had a very tough time, a very hard time during the monarchy time, and they were greatly inspired with these middle classes peoples, and they started these revolutions movements in Greece. So dear children, here during this revolutions movement already I have told you that there are certain peoples who supported Greeks to start these independence movements. First of all, I told you those peoples who are living in exiles, those Greek peoples who are living in exiles, they supported the Greek to come out and start these revolutions movements against the monarchy. And after that we see these Western European peoples, because they have great respect for the Greek culture, because they consider that the Western culture as well as the European culture, which has begun in Greece, that is why they wanted to liberate the Greek peoples from this Ottoman Empire, because they do not want these Greeks to be under the control of Ottoman Empire. So they had a great sympathy for their culture. They had imaginations that the beginning of Western cultures was happening in Greek society. That is why they have a great respect towards the Greek cultures. So after that we see the supports of different poets, different artists who used to appreciate the cultures of Greece, and they begin to say, or they begin to develop a sense of writings among the societies and to motivate peoples by saying that Greek cultures, it is one of the ancient cultures which is to be respected, which is to be restored, and they begin to urge the peoples through writings that they need to support the Greek War of Independence. So dear children, here again we see the supports of different writers, different poets, different artists. They are praising the Greek cultures. They are praising and saying that we see the origins of Western cultures in Greek society. That is why we need to support the Greek peoples and we need to liberate them from this Ottoman Empire. So here, as soon as these continuous struggles which has begun in Greece, we see the English poet who also had great contributions during this Greek War of Independence. Here, the Lord Byron, what he did was he organized the funds and he went to war. So here we see the English peoples who are strongly connected with this Greek War of Independence. So here the English poet Lord Byron organizing the funds, going to the war, fighting for the peoples, trying to liberate the peoples from Ottoman Empire. So we see the writers, we see these Western peoples, we see the peoples who are living in exile, these Greek peoples that are living in exile. So all these peoples, they are strongly supporting the Greek War of Independence. So when there was a continuous struggles which was going on in Greece, during that time there was a treaty which happened here, and that is known as the Treaty at Constantinople. So with the Treaty of Constantinople, the Greek was declared the independent nations. So here with the Treaty of Constantinople, so dear children, here we understand that the Greek was declared as the independent nations here. So dear children, here we understand that this Greek War of Independence is also considered the nationalism movements which happen in European country, because it is the nationalism movements which started inspiring these Greek peoples to have freedom from Ottoman Empire. So dear children, here we understand that the revolutions movements, it is inspiring all the peoples of Europe. It is motivating the peoples. It is one kind of inspirations which is moving all throughout the society, and that is creating a sense of unity in the society. And because of those nationalistic feelings, peoples are having these age of revolutions, the nationalism movements in all throughout European countries. So dear children, today we shall learn here about the age of revolutions which happens in Brussels, and we will learn here about the Greek War of Independence, and when the Greek War of Independence which happens in 1821, with that the Greek was declared the independent nations here. So dear children, finally we learn here that with this nationalist feelings which was spreading all throughout the European country, it inspired all the peoples to start different kind of revolutions movements against the new conservatisms in European society. Thank you for listening to me.